So I found out something interesting about lion safaris. Is when they take the trunks out and they're just like out in the open with the lions and they don't get attacked. Lions apparently think that it's all one giant animal, so they don't like try to rest staring at this. Pictures, make sure you have that ready. But if you are going to be holding on to anything in your hands, make sure you're holding on extra tight, because if you do drop it, I can't promise it's going to come back in the same condition. Now we're just waiting on that clearance from the word of the head on it here. Now we are going to be entering the Little Ituri Forest. Many of the animals that may live in the Little Ituri Forest are very good at hiding and camouflaging. So we're going to keep our eyes open and see what we can find while we're out here today. Now it looks like coming up on that left side there, if you look way in the back, you may be able to see those two birds. Now that is the saddle-billed stork. They do get their name because they have a little yellow saddle shape that's on their bill. They have a wingspan of about 9 feet, and they're also known to pair for life. Now over to the right side of the truck there, you may have also been able to see the okapi with those beautiful stripes on their legs, kind of making them look like a zebra. However, they are actually most closely related to the giraffe. In fact, they are the last living relative of the giraffe. Both giraffes as well as okapis will have really long prehensile tongues, which they can use to grasp onto their food. Now all the giraffes as well as the male okapis will also have little horns on their head called ossicones. And we call ossicones false horns because they are horns that are covered by skin. When all the giraffes as well as the male okapis are born, their ossicones will be soft like cartilage, but as they grow up they will become hard and part of their skull. Now it looks like coming up on the left side here, maybe a little bit hard to tell, but it looks like there is a black rhino laying down out there. Now it is going to be towards that right side where the rock is. Now the black rhinos are smaller than the white rhinos, and they're also solitary, so they will often be found alone. Something else that separates the black rhinos from all other rhinos is that they have a V-shaped prehensile lip, which will help them to grasp onto their food as well. Now to the left there, you may be able to see those two different animals. The animal with that red coat and horns is the bongo, and the animal with that tan coat is the greater kudu. Now the bongos are hardly ever seen, so they are known as the ghosts in the forest. Both male and female bongos will have horns. However, the male bongo's coats will be a little bit darker brown, where the female bongo's coats will be a little bit more red, just like the one that was out there. Now you may have noticed that the greater kudu didn't have any horns, and that's because only the male greater kudus will have horns, and their horns will be very large and almost in the shape of a W. Now we are headed to the Safi River. Now the Safi River has been known to have some Nile hippopotamus hanging around every now and then, and it looks like we're actually going to be able to see something pretty special out here today. Now the hippos are nocturnal, and they will typically spend a lot of their day underwater, so finding them outside of water is pretty special, and it looks like they are going to be laying outside of the water over to that right side there. Now next to the hippos there, you may also be able to see the pink-backed pelicans. Looks like to the left side of the truck there, you may also be able to see another hippo under the water. Now a group of hippos is called a float. When they do sleep underwater, they can stay underwater for just up to about 8 minutes at a time before having to reach up for a breath. And they do have a portion of their brain that will remain active while they are sleeping to tell them to bob up for air. Now they are also herbivores, and they will mostly eat grasses, leaves, fruits, and vegetables. Now being nocturnal really does come in handy to them because during the hotter times, when it's really hot outside, they will typically stay underwater. But once it cools down a little bit, they may get up and go find their food, and it actually looks like they're really enjoying this weather out here today. Now the hippos are typically born at about 85 pounds, and on average they'll usually grow up to be about 2,500 pounds. Now coming up on that left side there, you may also be able to see the Nile crocodiles. Oh. Now the Nile crocodiles are carnivores, so we do need to make sure everybody stays fully seated for me, friends. Now on average, the Nile crocodiles will grow to be about 16 to 20 feet long. Now on average, they will also weigh up to just about 500 pounds. Just about half their body weight. The Nile crocodiles are the largest species of crocodiles in Africa. Over to the right side here, you may be able to see that really large tree. Now that tree is called the baobab tree. And the baobab tree will stay leafless about 9 months out of the year, giving it its nickname as the upside down tree, because it looks like there are roots on the top of the tree. During the drier months, the baobab tree will store up as much water in its trunk as it can to help it survive. But during the rainier months, there should be enough water stored up, as well as some excess to be able to bear some leaves. Now we are heading into the savannah. The savannah is home to a wide range of animals, ranging from lions, giraffes, elephants, zebras, and many other animals. Now it looks like as we enter the savannah here, coming up on the right side, based off their pattern. Their pattern have that really cool shape with the rougher edges on it. Now you may have also seen the reticulated giraffe before, and the reticulated giraffe's pattern is a little bit larger with softer edges on it, so their patterns look a little bit more rounded off, almost like cubes. Coming up on the right side here, you may be able to see that really large antelope. Now that is the eland. It actually looks like this one is going to be crossing over to the left side here. Now the elands are the largest antelopes in the world, standing at about 6 feet tall at their shoulder. You may also notice that they have that little flap of skin on their neck, and that flap of skin is called a dewlap. Now they're not the only animal to have a dewlap. There are several other animals that will have a dewlap, and it will serve the same purpose for them as well, to help them with their blood circulation, which helps to cool them down. Now coming up on the left side here, what do you think of this? Looks like we may be able to see some African painted dogs. Now it looks like they are kind of hiding in a difficult spot here, so we may be able to see them just a little bit better as we get a little closer here. So hunt in groups, making them the most successful hunter with a success rate of about 90%. Now coming up on the left side there, you may also be able to see the sable antelopes with those long horns facing their back. And that comes in handy to them because they're some of the only antelopes to fight off their predators. Most other antelopes will try to run away, but having those long horns facing their back will help them just in case the predator tries to jump on their back. They'll be ready to fight them off. Now if the sable antelope have young with them and a predator does come along, they will all circle their young, leaving their horns down. And they protect their young just like we protect our animals. And for that reason, they are the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now to the left there, you may have also been able to see the wildebeest. And the wildebeest are part of the Great Migration. They will migrate in groups of up to about 1.5 million every single year. Now they will migrate with some other animals, like with the zebras as well as some antelopes. However, the zebras and the antelopes typically will not migrate the full 1,000 miles that the wildebeest will migrate every single year. You may have also heard wildebeest be referred to as Arsenio. Now it looks like coming up on the left side here, we may be able to see the Maasai giraffes again a little bit better here. Now if you look pretty closely, we may be able to catch a glimpse of their long purple prehensile tongues. Now their tongues can grow to be about 18 inches long, and that does help them because they will eat for up to about 20 hours every single day. Now they will also only sleep for about 30 minutes a day, and when they do sleep, they will usually sleep standing up or sitting down, almost rarely laying down. Laying down puts them at a very vulnerable position, and it also takes them a very long time to get up, so they don't lay down too very often. Now when they do sleep, because they only sleep for such short periods of time, they may sleep in about 5-minute increments, and they can also sleep with their eyes open. So if they're sleeping standing up with their eyes open, it becomes very hard to tell if they're actually sleeping or not. Now on average, the Maasai giraffes will grow to be about 18 to 20 feet tall. They can also learn to run within their first 2 hours of life. Giraffes also have enormous hearts. Their hearts are about the size of a basketball and can weigh up to about 25 pounds. Now having hearts that large will make sure that they can get their blood throughout their entire bodies.
I don't know if I can get this. Giraffe just chilling on the walkway.
It also looks like coming up on the right side out there, you may be able to see the Hartman's Mountain zebra. Now many people have asked if zebras are white with black stripes or if they are black with white stripes. And they are black with white stripes, and the way we can tell is because the first stripe after their nose is a black stripe. Now if you look pretty close at the Hartman's Mountain zebra's neck, you may also notice that they have that dewlap as well. However, they're actually the only zebra to have that dewlap, but it does serve the same purpose for them. Looks like just to the left side here, we may be able to see a mandrill. And over to the right side there, you may be able to see the African elephant. Now we should be able to see that African elephant again as we round the corner here. Now to the left there, you may be able to see the male and females there. The male is going to be the really big one there, and the male mandrills are actually the largest monkeys in the world. They will weigh up to just about 100 pounds, where the females are much smaller and weigh only about 33 pounds. Get excited. Coming up on the right side here, we may be able to see that African elephant again. Now the African elephants are the largest land mammals. They will typically grow up to be about 10,000 to 14,000 pounds. Now if that elephant out there is alone, that may be a good indication that it might be a male elephant. The male elephants are typically solitary. However, sometimes they can also be found in a bachelor group, whereas the female elephants do not like to be alone. They will typically be found in a female herd, which will consist of the females as well as their young. Now the elephants do have a great memory, and that comes in handy to all of the elephants, but especially the male elephants. Living alone, they will have to find their own food and water. When elephants are young, their mothers will show them exactly how to find food and water, and they will remember those exact watering holes for their entire lives. Now unfortunately, the elephants have faced many poaching challenges. They're not only poached due to the ivory in their tusks, but they're also sometimes poached due to farming. That's not good for the farmers because that is their livelihood. We've sent Disney conservation researchers over to Kenya to try to work with some of the farmers. When our researchers got to Kenya, they noticed that elephants would eat from some trees, but not the other ones. When our researchers asked the farmers why that was, the farmers told them that some of the trees had bees in them. We then found out that elephants are actually scared of bees. Our researchers were able to take that information to help to create some bee box fences. And those bee box fences will help to keep the elephants out of the farmers' crops, making the farmers happy, but it also helps to keep the elephants safe. Now our researchers have also done many studies on elephant vocalizations, and they found out that when elephants come into contact with bees, they will make vocalizations that cannot be heard to the human ear, but can be heard by the elephants from miles away. And they can also feel those vocalizations in their feet. And they'll just feel like little rumbles in their feet. And when they hear that noise and feel it in their feet, they will know that there are bees in the area. Those smaller antelopes, and that is the springbok. Now, they do get their name from their ability to spring about 6 feet up into the air and about 10 to 13 feet forward. we may be able to see the greater flamingos. Greater flamingos are the largest flamingos, and they're also the lightest in color.
They are.
Now the greater flamingos can grow up to be about 5 feet tall. When baby flamingos are born, they are born gray, and they will stay gray until they're about 2 years old. Once they are 2 years old, they should have had enough beta carotene from their brine shrimp diet to help them turn pink. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. Out to the left there, if you look just beyond the trees, you may be able to catch a glimpse of that female herd that's out there. Now coming up on the left here, you may also be able to see that really large mud wallow in the middle. Some larger animals like rhinos and elephants may like to use a mud wallow. When they wallow in the mud, that mud will help to coat their skin, acting as a natural sunscreen, insect repellent, and it'll also help to cool them down. Now it looks like we may have been able to catch a glimpse of those white rhinos out on that right side, but we should be able to see them again as we round the corner here. It looks like coming up on the left side in just a minute here, we may be able to see a cheetah up and walking around here. Now they can also run up to speeds of about 75 miles per hour. Now even though they can run up to speeds of about that much, they can only sustain that speed for a few hundred yards. After a few hundred yards, they will get tired. So if they haven't caught their prey yet, sometimes they will give up. It looks like there may actually be 3 cheetahs in that really big yard out there. It looks like there are 2 laying down and then the one that's up and walking around out there. Now the cheetahs are typically solitary. However, sometimes when they're born with other cheetahs, they will stay together. And it looks like just out to the left there, closer to those bushes on the right side, maybe 2 more cheetahs laying down there as well. Now just ahead of us here, looks like we have some copy rocks. So on the ground, it is very hard to find your prey. But once you get up high on the copy rocks, it becomes much easier. Looks like just out to the left there, we may be able to see that male lion laying down. We can tell that that one is the male because he has a mane. Only the male lions will have that mane. Now, it looks like we may actually be able to see a female lion as well. She's going to be just a little bit further out there. She doesn't have that mane there. Over to the right side there, you may also be able to see the white rhinos laying down again, and we may be able to see them again in just a minute here. Now the female lions are the hunters, and they will typically hunt in a group of females, while the males will stay behind to protect their territory, as well as their young if they have any. The lions will typically spend up to about 20 hours of their day just resting. They may not always be sleeping, but they will typically be laying down resting. Looks like coming up on the left side here, we may be able to see some warthogs. Now the warthogs are the largest burrowing animals. They will typically back into their burrows, keeping their tusks in front of them, just in case a predator comes along. Now, they will typically range in weight from about 150 pounds to 300 pounds, and the males are bigger than the females, so the males will usually be the ones that'll weigh up to that 300 pounds. Looks like coming up on the right side here, we may be able to see the ostriches. You may also be able to see the white rhinos again. They are kind of tucked in the corner though, so we may be able to see them as we round the corner here. It looks like they are going to be just around this bush here, so you may be able to see their horns and a little bit of their head there. Now the white rhinos are larger than the black rhinos, and they're also very social. They will often be found in groups. They will typically grow up to be about 5,000 pounds. Now the white rhinos unfortunately have also faced poaching challenges, and they are poached for their horns. However, we like to spread the message that their horns are made out of keratin. And that's the exact same thing that our fingernails and hair are made out of, and by spreading that message, we hope to help save the rhinos. Now over to the right side there, you may be able to see some of those ostrich eggs. Now because the ostriches are the largest birds in the world, they also have the largest bird eggs in the world. And their eggs to be social. And we can tell that the ostrich that was out there was a female based off of her feathers. The female's feathers are much lighter than the male's feathers. Now we are heading into Magadi Glen, home of the Warden's Post and the Nigerian dwarf goat. Nigerian dwarf goats are small, cute, social, playful animals. Even though these goats are so small, they're actually fully grown adults. Farmers may like to keep goats like the Nigerian dwarf goat because it'll help to give them milk, which they can then turn into soap, cheese, and many other products. Now, if you'd like to see some more Nigerian dwarf goats today, you can head over to Rafiki's Planet Watch. Over at Rafiki's Planet Watch, they have the affection section, and there you may be able to find some more Nigerian dwarf goats, as well as some sheep and other animals, and you may even be able to pet them. Also at Rafiki's Planet Watch, we have the conservation station, so if you like the elephants, we're very knowledgeable about the Disney Conservation Fund, and many of the ways that we've been able to help animals all around the world, like rhinos and elephants. If you like to draw, they also have the animation experience out there, and there you may be able to learn how to draw one of our animated friends. Now it is completely random though, so you never know who you're going to get. Rafiki's Planet Watch is only going to be open until about 4:30 today, so if you are going to head out there, just make sure you do so by 4:20 or earlier, as that last train will leave right at 4:30. Our main message here today is all about conservation, and not just the conservation of the animals and their environment, but for our entire planet. And there are many ways that Right at Home that you can help with our conservation efforts. Having a garden will make sure that our bees can keep on pollinating, and you can also have wildflowers to make sure that the bees can keep on pollinating as well. Now, if you do have a garden, chances are you probably also have some veggie scraps, and having a compost will be able to help us with our greenhouse gases. Now, you don't have to have a garden or a compost to be able to help out with our conservation efforts. Just making sure that you turn off the water when you're not using it will help us to save water, and same thing with energy. Turning off the light switches when you're not using them as well will help us to save energy as well. Now, even though our journey together through the Harambe Wildlife Reserve is coming to located all around the park here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, you may be able to find many more animals. And when you exit the safari, if you head to the right, you can head right onto the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail, where you may be able to find many more animals like gorillas as well.